Okay. Mm, see. Oh, and I'll just post this around. Mm, just making sure I spread it as much as I possible, so just in case more people want to come in. Mm, okay, I think we're good for For now, at least. For now, at least. I want to change anything here? No. Probably not. Just put this on. So we have something in the background. Should be fine. Alright. Here we are. Okay, alright. Welcome, welcome. So, today I just decided, since I have the time, I wanted to do, a character tier list for all the characters in, Just Say Radio Future. And now, it might be kind of weird because, like, I mean, I know these are not, like, the most in-depth characters and whatnot, but I mean, there's enough things to talk about with them that I think a tier list can work at least. I mean, there's obviously how the characters look, what do they do in the story, and also how they play. Because I think like a big thing is like once you have a character like you really like, you're gonna be like you probably just want to stick with them for like the entirety of the game. So. And sometimes, and especially in this game where like there's much more of a focus on like movement and whatnot, like everyone controls like differently. So you're gonna have characters that you kind of vibe with and characters that you don't vibe with. But so we're gonna talk about everything here as much as we can. I think I'm gonna keep the tiers as they are, so I won't really do any changes. Now, I kind of have an idea of where I want to place everybody. Um, it's not gonna be ordered except for like the top 5 because I already know what my top 5 is. So for now, we're just going to start slowly, and I already have my least favorite character and the one character that I think is like the most inconsequential. So the character that I actually think is the worst. Hold on, let me just put these guys down because they're not really important too much because they're just like one-offs. But like, we're gonna mostly do the playable characters and Hayashi because he's like throughout the entirety of the game, so he could work. So to really start with, the character I think is easily the worst is NT3000, aka Fake Yo-Yo. So the whole big thing about Future in its story is by the time chapter 4 hits, Yo-Yo is completely missing. He's gone, he gets kidnapped, and you're not able to play him anymore until like the last 30 minutes of the game. And so they made this storyline by like the end of chapter 4 where we make it to Highway 0 and we see that Yo-Yo is captured, but then we get betrayed by Yo-Yo. Apparently, we get betrayed by Yo-Yo, and he's working with the Immortals and the Noise Tank, and he's essentially trying to turn us all into slaves, which is pretty crazy. And so after we get through all the death ball garbage and defeat all the noise tanks, we finally encounter the fake Yo-Yo here, who we don't know is the real Yo, who we know that isn't the real Yo-Yo yet until Cube hits him one time, and then it's revealed that it's just a noise tank in disguise. And that's pretty much the end of NT3000. That's it. I mean, Cube just hit him once, and it's revealed that it is just a fake Yo-Yo that was being cosplayed as by the noise tanks. And that's it. We don't even see him for the rest of the game. And I mean, he's literally just Yo-Yo, but he doesn't really do anything or contribute anything. It's just kind of the whole, oh my god, I can't believe our friend betrayed us, but we didn't really get betrayed. It was just a fake overall. But he doesn't really contribute anything, you know? It's just pretty much a fake Yo-Yo clone, so like whatever, right? So then next, I kind of want to say this, and this might be a surprise to some, but I don't really like Poison Jam that much. But like, when you think about like what are like your first rival characters in Jet Set Radio in general, you're probably gonna think about Poison Jam because you know they're the guys in monster masks and monster costumes and such. And like they're like the first rivals you really see across both games. But especially like in Future, they take up like the first half of the game. They're like your first half of antagonists. But I personally don't really jive with Poison Jam. I think they're kind of lame. I mean, to be honest, the entirety of the rival cast are jobbers, but like something about Poison Jam just doesn't really jive with me. Mostly because I mean, they're like the big giant jocks. You know, they're not very bright, and you know, uh, they're just very dumb. And it's so I do think like the fact that maybe like the sewers kind of contaminated them to turn them into like genetic freaks, because I mean I've never seen anyone else who could just break down a giant gate in a abandoned railroad station so easily, but these guys can. They could definitely do that. But they when I'm playing them, I can't play them for long because like their cornering is like so bad. And I think in a game for like just a Radio Future where the game is like already easy, having like massive amounts of health really means nothing in the grand scheme of things. It really doesn't. Like what's important for me is like can they corner good, like can they move smoothly in the air and whatnot. And Poison Jam is not one of those characters who is great to control. So overall, like out of all the rival characters, he's just my least favorite to play overall, and he does it. And as just antagonists, I mean, they're not too like interesting for me, honestly. But I mean, let's get to the Love Shockers here. Now, the Love Shockers, I actually really like playing them. They're actually one of my favorite characters to play in Future because they control so good. But what do they do? Well, they appear in the Death Ball chapter, which is already a bad sign to begin with, because like uh her and the Doom Riders, they just appear without any fanfare. But you hear about them in chapter 4, and what you hear is that they lost to the Immortals. They lost to the Immortals, and they lost their turf, which is in Hikage Street. The fact that they lost off screen is really bad already. Like, because that already established that these ladies suck if they're losing to these guys. And these guys, they lose way more than she does. But she lost off screen, so that makes her loss even more embarrassing. And then afterwards, you can just completely ignore her in chapter 7 and not do the rematch. So it's like, whatever. And it's kind of sad because she's actually like, I love her design. I love the whole idea of like, she's just straight up psychotic. That's like her whole thing. And I mean, obviously, like, in the original game, it was supposed to kind of be like that too. But like, the original game has no sort of personality to speak of. And I think they could have done a little more with her. But we kind of don't get that. She just sort of appears and then she just sort of goes away, and that's it. So really the only nice things I could really say about the Love Shockers is that they're like the best controlling characters in the game for the most part, and they look really nice. And I like the idea of their character, but it's just they don't really do anything, unfortunately. And just again, losing off screen, it's pretty bad. So, but the Doom Riders, they suffer the same fate as the Love Shockers, where like they appear in chapter 5 in the Death Ball chapter, we beat them, and then we could just completely ignore them when we get to chapter 7, and then that's it for them. We don't get to see them again. But I think the Doom Riders at least has more weight to them in terms of like a concept, because like they used to, the whole thing is they used to be called like the Hell Bikers. Maybe they were like bikers or something, or maybe they were just roller skaters the entire time. And then like they had a run in with the Rokaku police, and then their skulls essentially got replaced by the helmets that they're wearing right now, which is actually really freaky to think about, because like if you could imagine, like say you take off their helmet and like all you see is like their brain, like just the thought of that is kind of freaky. But I think that is kind of cool, especially when you see in their models like their faces is all stitched up and shit. Like they really got messed up by the Rokaku police, which is like, at least that's like telling to me like how dangerous Rokaku can get if they're able to like do whatever they did to the Doom Riders. That their whole face is like stitched up. They're pretty much like Frankenstein's monster. And like they don't even have like skulls anymore to like cover their brain. They just have the helmet. So I think just the idea of the Doom Riders is kind of cool. But like again, they don't really get much. And we don't really have anything to like really give them. Like they're just like rowdy old biker dudes. And you know, I think it is kind of cool that they're like middle-aged men. It's like, I mean, hey, we have the whole cast is essentially like a bunch of young adults, and then just to see like a bunch of middle-aged dudes in roller skates, it's kind of cool. But I don't really like playing them much either because they don't control too great. But I just like the concept of what happened to them. I think that alone is what makes them cool. And I hate to do this, and I really do hate to do this, but Rapid 99, for as cool as a design as they are, I think they have like my favorite design like in this game, or at least one of them. But like they're definitely up there. They have such a great design, and they perfectly like encapsulate the whole nightlife setting of Tokyo. And these girls are mostly like goes with the whole cyberpunk aesthetic and stuff. But like the thing is, they don't really do anything. They really don't do a damn thing. So we get introduced to them in chapter 2, and they're supposed to be important because she is Poison Jam's rival. You know, these two have been beefing for a while. And then not only that, there's the added lore of Cube over here being their former leader. You know, they had some things like going on for them that could have made for some interesting stuff. But like, you beat them in the flag battle and that's it. They're just gone forever. And like the last time you hear about them is when you fall into that trap into the sewers. That's it. So like, they just appear in the game and do absolutely nothing. So the most I can really say about them is that, well, I mean, they had potential. They literally just had potential, and they're like the coolest looking design out of all the other rival characters. And like, I love playing them overall because they're so cool. But like, she doesn't really get anything. She doesn't do anything in the game, so it's like it doesn't even matter. Like, I really think like if you were just taking her out of the game, it wouldn't change a damn thing. It really would not have changed anything. So it's kind of sad. It's kind of sad. So time for the next pair of jobbers, the Immortals. I think the concept of the Immortals is like really cool. I mean, they're literally like undead mummies. I mean, Jet Set Radio was like kind of freaky already, but like the fact that this at least in future is leading more into like sci-fi related stuff. Having like mummies being able to like skate around and stuff and try to like sacrifices and whatnot, I think that's really cool. Just having like undead skaters just living amongst us, and it's like they're like an attraction in the skyscraper district in Faro Park, which is like, funnily enough, like people have to like walk around and just look at the Immortals coffin that they're just laying there, and they're just like, should we open this? And they probably don't, because it's just like, these dudes are definitely like alive. They're definitely alive. But like I think out of everyone here, these are like the biggest jobbers because I think they have like the same losing record as like Poison Jam because you beat them in the Skyscraper District, you beat them in Highway Zero, you beat them in Death Ball, and then you can beat them again in 99th Street. Like these guys' losing streak is the worst. But it's funny because they're able to beat the Love Shockers, and they did that off screen. It's like they're just a. I think it's just like he is a huge jobber, but it's just the fact that it's an undead mummy is really cool. It is really cool that it's just an undead mummy, and I can't really complain about that because that is such a cool design decision from them. And we know now that BRC is gonna have like something similar to like these guys because we have like those Frankenstein basketball players who I think look really cool. So I'm glad like the whole undead thing is like also catching on. But you know, jobber. But overall, I think like the Immortals are like the coolest set of rivals. So the noise tank. I don't really like playing the noise tank, but I will have to say, like, admittedly, they actually do quite a bit more. You know, B is a little too high, honestly. I'll put them as like the best rivals they're definitely like the best rivals out of the bunch. Because they actually do a lot. They're able to take control of the Immortals very easily. And they pretty much have the Immortals under their wing. And then they also beat the Doom Riders and then the Love Shockers. So like then they all capture them and put them into this whole Death Ball thing. But it felt like they were doing like the most because not only that, they kind of concocted the plan to catch the GGs, and you know the whole thing was to make the GGs slaves and whatnot by making them participate in Death Ball. And then they had a whole like invasion, like they were taking over Tokyo like everywhere. I mean, they weren't really doing anything, they were just kind of dancing, but like, if we thought about it, it was probably like tearing the entire place down. And then, you know, we finally meet with them in the Skyscraper District, and then, you know, we find out the secret that they were created by Rokaku. And you know what? For minions, they actually were doing pretty okay. Like, the main reason they kind of lost was like, it's because Cube stepped in and ruined their plan to like make them believe that Yo-Yo betrayed them. And you know what? I gotta say, like the noise tank, they actually did a little something, you know? They actually did a little something. I think these guys are actually like great. I actually think these guys are like great rivals. I mean, I think their design is much worse. I definitely prefer the original design over this, because this is a little too generic. But I'd say, like, their role in the story was actually pretty good. They actually didn't do too bad, you know? But it's just kind of annoying because, like, the whole Chapter 6 is, like, a whole filler of destroying these guys. So it's like, But I think, for a bunch of minions, they actually did pretty alright. Not too bad. I gotta give my compliments. I mean... Okay, so I'm just gonna put Potts here because like it's Potts. I mean, he's a good boy. He's obviously a good boy, but I mean he's just a dog. But I do like the extra dialogue he gets. Like Gum is telling this man to just go. Gum sees their dog standing up, walking bipedal, and the most she says is go back to your doghouse. That's very funny. Like cute. It's the fact that Gum is not even worried about the fact that her dog can walk. It's just the fact that she's like, yo, go back to your doghouse, because we ain't tell you to leave. And then Corner's like, I never expected you to start walking when I picked you up. And then Beat is like, I knew it. And then Beat is literally like, I knew it. I knew this dog would start walking. I knew it. Like Beat knew the entire time that Potts was something different. He was built different. And then it's funny because Yo-Yo and Garum is like, you could get your food on your own, and it's like, don't go walking on your own. It's funny. Like the GGs are so chill about their dog walking. But Combo though, obviously Combo hates dogs, so he has beef with Potts. And it's funny how Combo is like, he could be eaten in one bite because of how small Potts is. You know what? Potts is a good boy, but you know, it's a dog. Can't really do much with a dog. It's like Koromaru in Persona 3. Like Koromaru is obviously a good boy, but you can't do much with a dog, right? You can't do much with a dog. Let's see. Alright. I think I'm going to put Clutch here. So, I mean, funnily enough about Clutch, obviously, like, a lot of people don't like Clutch. And I mean, rightfully so. Rightfully so, because he is an asshole. But, like, he's so funny. He's so hilarious. He is, like, the most nonchalant character, like, in this game. Like, he is not worried about anything. But I think what's so messed up about Clutch is, like, everything that's happening right now. Because, like, he comes in when the Golden Rhino comes in, and they're terrorizing the entire city. And then he's like, oh, man, you're looking for Yo-Yo? I can help you out. And then he just steals your stuff. He just steals your stuff, and and then you gotta go find him. He's like, hey, man, I didn't mean it. I'll help you out. I won't do anything, I swear. And then when you talk to him, he's, like, so chill that he's really not worried about anything. And I think that's what's so funny about him. Like, he has no worries about the world going to shit, and he's just vibing. You know what? I feel that. I do find it funny that his dialogue with Korn, and he's like, what? You're the leader? And he just laughs. And then he's just also laughing while people's souls are getting taken by Goji. And he's like, you know what? This Goji dude's kind of funny. I really feel like if Jet Set Radio Future had a more fleshed out story, I think Clutch would be like a really hilarious character. Like, I think he'd be really funny. I really think so. And, you know, that's kind of what I'm hoping. Like, if we ever get another Jet Set Radio game, I kind of want to see Clutch back. Because I think a character like that is, like, very funny for a setting like Jet Set Radio. And he's just so chill. And honestly, I kind of like playing Clutch. I mean, he has the same stats as Jazz. So, I mean, it's essentially playing, like, the same character. So, he's good there. But I think another thing about Clutch that I gotta dock points down on is that he's clearly, like, very unfinished. Because, I mean, if you play Jet Set Radio Future, you know Clutch's, like, right ear has, like, a texture issue. And then there's also the fact that he could completely soft lock your game if you don't find him in time. So, the fact that he could screw up your game, he's pretty demonic. That alone, I can't bring him up. He's pretty demonic for glitching your game. And then we can't forget the infamous no head at the end of the game. So I mean, he was clearly like a rushed character. They definitely put him in last minute, and you can tell. But like, I think like his character overall makes me laugh, and I do like his design a lot. You know, with the baggy pants and the chain around his belt. You know, I like it. I also like his sleeves. They're almost like robotic sleeves. I actually think Clutch is cool. For as much shit as he get, I think he's actually a really cool character. And I always get happy when like people draw him. And they draw him in the most goofiest fashion possible. Because he really is just a silly little guy. He really is. And then next, I'm going to give this to Roboy. So, I mean, we know Roboy. I mean, Roboy is the tutorial bot. He's the one that changes your music. He's the one that saves your game, changes your characters, changes your graffiti. You use Roboy for literally everything. You know? You literally use Roboy for everything. And I think where Roboy really shines is if you decide you want to go through the entire game's tutorial, you get to see like what kind of character like Roboy is, and he's literally just like an overconfident, cocky, jerkish robot who loves himself too much. Like he prides himself at being so smart. And I mean, since he is like the tutorial guide, I mean, it makes sense. He's always calling us a noob and whatnot. Like he has so much personality that you don't get to see unless you do that tutorial, which I think a lot of people are going to skip. But like I think I think that's the best way to describe him. He's basically like Bender from Futurama. He's a complete asshole, but like I think that's what makes him like so funny. You know, and the whole thing about him, like he is a prototype noise tank. Yeah, like these are literally like the same thing, but he was the failed prototype. He got thrown into the trash and Korn fixed him right up, and now look at him, you know? He's very proud of himself for being like, I guess he's just proud of himself because he thinks he's cool. I wish I had the confidence Roboy had. You know, even though we found this man in the dumpster, you know what? He still has a lot of personality to him. And you know what? I think like this was a more entertaining way to do like tutorials, to have like a very eccentric character like Roboy doing all the talking for us. I think Roboy is great, but I would not play him. I do not like playing Roboy or the Noise Tank because like 20 cans is terrible. And like they have the worst cornering in the game. They control like the worst. Like when people say like Jet Set Radio Future have like control problems, it's like these two are like so bad with it because like they can't turn for the life of them. And the most they got is like the highest acceleration, but honestly it doesn't matter too much because it doesn't feel that much noticeable in Future. But besides like playing him, like Roboy the character himself is really cool. Actually, I like Roboy a lot. And I kind of hope he comes back in some way. Let's see. Oh, okay. So this might be like a little crazy, but I really like Zero Beat. I like the whole concept of Zero Beat, even though like the execution is like very rushed and he like comes out of nowhere. But I like his whole existence. Like he's basically a demon version of Beat created by Goji. And that's kind of crazy because he's clearly not like he's clearly not a robot like these two. And Roboy, like there is like he has a different aura to him. Like he's definitely like a demon. And when we get to the end of the game, we see like he gets shot out of that demon tower by Goji. And like it's just the fact that, you know, demons exist in Jet Set Radio is like insane. Like he's essentially Beat's shadow in every sort of he's essentially like Beat's shadow in every way. Even though again, like the way he was implemented was very rushed, his concept is like really good. It's just the whole reason he exists. Like the fact that he's a demon. That's really cool. That's really come on. His design is so crazy. Like he has a whole floating torso with a tail on his back. And then like another interesting thing I like about him is that since his like skates are not like everyone else's skates, when you do tricks, the trails, they come out of his eyes. Isn't that cool? Isn't that so cool? Like the trails actually come out of his eyes. That's such a cool detail. I just love Zero Beat. Like his design carries so hard, and just his whole concept of being a demon is so cool. Even though he doesn't really get to do enough in time. but he's what kind of also sparked like what is like the interaction between Beat and Goji, like how did they meet each other and whatnot, because it is clear that they kind of had a prior experience to each other. So, and then we got Zero Beat. But I mean, I'm gonna be honest, for Sega to give us another like a doppelganger, I mean that was kind of normal for them. Like we had like Metal Sonic, and then they did the same thing with Shadow, obviously, and then we had Evola in Space Channel 5, and then now here we are again, and we have Zero Beat. They just I don't know, they just really love the concept of doppelganger characters. They really do. They love doppelganger characters. Okay. Who I want to put next? You know what? I think Soda is going to go over here. Soda is in a rough position because I think out of the entirety of the GG's cast, he's like the most forgettable. I mean, to be fair, like the majority of the cast here are like forgettable for like people in the community, which is very sad. But I think they explicitly forget Soda even exists, or don't even like know he's around. And it kind of doesn't help because like Soda is in a weird place where you probably don't even know you can unlock him in Highway 0 unless you talk to Combo in Chapter 6, where he's like, there's some big dudes over there making some moves in Highway 0. You probably wouldn't even know Soda is there. You really wouldn't know, but like, I've always had a soft spot for Soda. And I think what's so funny about Soda is that, especially in the original game, he's like the tallest character. He's somehow taller than Combo. It's not like that anymore in future, but like he's gigantic in the original game. Like he is like a tower. But like the whole thing, like when you finally meet him in Highway 0, the guy's just bored. He's literally just bored, and he wants some entertainment. Like he literally is just in Highway 0 just chilling, and he's bored. And so when we finally meet him and we finally give him some entertainment, he's like, you know what, I'll join you guys, because it's like, well, I got nothing better to do. And then when we finally get him on the team, now he's fighting for his life, and he's probably like, what the fuck, this is not what I expected. Like the whole thing with Soda is so funny to me. I really just like the fact that he probably did not expect to get into this type of situation. But the whole thing with Soda, when you talk to him, you kind of realize that he's actually kind of smart, because he brings up how he was the first one that actually brings up that maybe the Noise Tank had like an association with the Rokaku group. And I mean, he turned out to be right. And then he also like talked about how Rokaku tech is very like cheap. Like, I like this aspect of like Soda kind of being like a very chill and kind of lazy character, but like he's also like kind of smart in his own right. And it's like he doesn't really like to get into conflict, but when he sees like Goji's tower, he's like, man, I don't want to do this, but that thing has got to go. And I do like his interaction with Clutch, where he starts off calling Clutch a punk, and then when Clutch finally joins, he's like, you know what, stay out of trouble. And I think those two would have like an interesting dynamic with each other, where it's like Clutch is obviously like the troublemaker, and then Soda is like the one trying to keep him out of it. I think that's like an interesting dynamic between the two. But I do like Soda a whole lot. I do like the fact that he's very chilled, he's very lazy. I think his implementation is very funny, but he's also I think he's also very smart. And I don't think he doesn't really get a lot of credit because I mean, he's not like the most good-looking guy, obviously, but clearly there are people, dedicated fans out there, wink wink, who can make him look good. And I think they have a much better idea of how Soda acts as a character. I think he deserves a little more love, you know, because he is kind of cool. I actually think he is super duper cool. And then the last person I'm actually going to put into B is I'm actually gonna put Combo here. So Combo is one of like the earliest recruitments that you get. And like you meet him in Shibuya Terminal and he thinks like you're the one who messed up the bus terminal and then you did, and then he's like, you know what? My bad, man. We're gonna be a team from now on. And he's also one of the characters who went through like the biggest design change. Like he's definitely more in tune with like the 2000s rap style, where like his OG design was like the 80s rap style. And then like it came to like my attention, like that's actually like not much of a boombox he's holding, but it's more like a whole like DJ set that he has. And I mean, again, that's still pretty cool. The whole concept of Combo overall is cool because like the fact that he's holding like such a giant machine around him at all times, and he's able to do all these crazy things and not break it, is super duper cool. I can't tell. I think people can't tell whether or not that Combo has blue hair or he has a bandana. He actually has blue hair. That's actually his hair. That's actually like his hair. He has blue hair. It doesn't really look good in model, but that's actually like his blue hair because you can see from his beard too. He has like a blue beard. But weirdly enough, I think the whole blue hair thing kind of fits him and him alone, because well, we're gonna get to another character that has blue hair, but I think like with his color scheme, like the blue hair actually complements him very well because he's mostly just black and gold, and there's just something about the blue that's kind of just fitting for his hair. So Combo overall, he's like the big tough guy. He's the big muscle, but him himself, he's also like very very smart. That's the one thing they kind of didn't take away when transitioning him from the original game. He is still kind of smart, and like you learn from him that like Rapid 99 used to be ran by Cube, which is like a little nod to like the original game, which I really like. But when you talk to Combo, you usually see him in like a very like aggressive manner in comparison to like the original game where he was just mostly chilled. But I kind of like this whole I kind of like the change there in like character where he's more of like the muscle guy and he's like more aggressive, because I think it brings out a little more personality about him, especially for the fact that he's just not a huge animal lover. He doesn't like dogs, but then he also hates goldfish. Like, you would never suspect a guy this huge to be like, oh nah man, I really hate those goldfish, man. Those goldfish are really a problem. I just like that. I just like that about her. And then like the dialogue, like, I don't care if it's like a golden rhino or a blue hippo, they're all gonna be sent to the zoo. Like that line is so raw. That line is so raw. But the only reason he's not like in the A tier for me is just the fact Combo is not a fun character to play, because like his control is like so bad. His control is like really bad. Like his whole turning is like, yeah, moving with this character is not very fun. And like with Future's whole thing like being about control, I think Combo would not make you like the game's controls very much because how his stats are. And again, like having a lot of health in Jet Set Radio Future is not really that important, because like the game is already Mickey Mouse easy to begin with. So like besides like the whole like gameplay sort of aspect of him, I think everything else about him, like when you talk to him and his whole design is really good. I think that alone is like really good. And he's really great. And then I mean, he somehow ended up being one of the few characters we saw in that leak. And I think that's crazy. I think that's kind of crazy that like he was one of the first characters we saw get a design change from that leak. Because I kind of would expect it to be like the original trio, like Beat, Gum, and Corn. But like he was like one of the first characters we saw, and I actually really vibed with his leak design. Actually, it's like it was really like it was like a touch up of like his original design. Like literally the only thing he was missing was his boombox, but like I actually thought he looked really good. But it intrigued me because like what if he like became like the new third, I mean, obviously that wouldn't be anything new because like when you start a future, you start with Yo-Yo, Gum, and Corn. And in the original game, it's Beat, Tab, and Gum. Having like, if the new game actually turned out to exist somewhere, it would be like Beat, Gum combo. And you know what? That would sound like a really cool dynamic because like, you have like the wild one, which is like Beat, and then you would have like Gum, who is like the brains, and then Combo would be like the bronze. He's the muscle. Like he's the one that's gonna get shit done for everybody. I think that dynamic would be cool. I think so. I really hope that whatever comes out just at radio, like we get to see Combo with that new design, and we get to see something like really really cool. Yeah, Gum would essentially be like the glue that holds the gang together. So yeah, Combo is really cool. I really do like Combo a lot. And since he's such an early character, you get to connect with him like very quickly. I can put this on repeat and loop it. All right, now for the rest of this is just gonna be the A tier. We got a lot of characters here. Let's see. I think I'm going to start off with Garum. I fucking love Garum so much. I think Garum is one of the coolest characters. He doesn't get enough love. I think Garum doesn't get enough love because I think Garum is super cool. I think there's something super cool about Garum. Like he's essentially like the wild eccentric one of the group. And when you first meet him, bro is literally laughing at you for falling into a trap into the sewers. And I think like what really makes him shine is like his dialogue. He has a lot of great dialogue. He really does have a lot of great dialogue. And especially like since like the reason you see him and Yo-Yo together a lot is because of that one interaction. Like he was obviously like one of the main ones that was worried about Yo-Yo, and then when Yo-Yo came back, he was like, I caused a lot of trouble for the both of us, bro. Which, kind of catapulted those two as like having like a close friendship bond for being such troublemakers. And you especially see that when people write fanfiction stories. Like, Yo-Yo and Garum are like the dynamic duo in causing trouble and talking shit. And those two work together so well. And then of course my favorite for Garum is his interactions with Boogie and Jazz, because when he talks to Boogie, he's like, I'm next in line. My name is Graham. You know how it is. He's mad pompous and confident, but then when he meets Jazz, he's like, uh, just be cool. Like I love stuff like that, man. Like he switched up so easily. Like he folded so easily for Jazz, and I mean, can't blame him. I mean, it's Jazz. I would fold too. I would fold like Garum did. I would fold like he did. But it's like this man exudes like so much confidence, and he's like, I think like besides like Beat, he's like the main shit talker of the GGs. Like, and he's gonna be the one always starting shit. Especially like you see like, I think what's interesting that Garum is also one of the few characters who actually get like special interactions like in the post game, which is really strange. And it's funny hearing about his like his prior interaction with the Immortals, and he's like, "Don't ask me to ever join you ever again." Like the fact that like he had like a prior interaction with the Immortals is very interesting to me. And then he's like with the Doom Riders, is like, we don't have bikes around here. You know, I love his voice. Whoever voiced acted Garum, they deserve like a reward or something, because I know it must have been so hard trying to keep up that same voice for like the entirety of the game, because it's so raspy. But I think that's what makes him like stand out. Like you know it's Garum when you like hear his voice. And I feel like Garum is like one of the best characters in terms of like fan works, because you could put Garum in a lot of comedic stuff and it would be in character for him, you know? Especially when you pair him up with Yo-Yo. It's great. I love Garum. Or like I like how his like pre-beta design, like he was like a mosque. It's very funny. And oh yeah, I mean clearly like in the original game he was sitting next to Yo-Yo, so I mean like these two were destined to be like a dynamic duo. Like I like it. Garum is like really cool. And you know what, now that we're actually on the topic of Yo-Yo, he's actually like right next to Garum. Like Yo-Yo, easily one of the most popular characters amongst people. People love Yo-Yo for a lot of reasons. Like he's a goofy guy. He really is. He's also like the first character you play in future when you boot up the game. So like you instantly kind of have a connection with him because you're the newbie joining the GGs. Like he also has his whole like super loud, high pitched voice, which I don't know how you could achieve that, honestly. And he's always so energetic and excited to like start trouble. And I mean, don't get me started on his interaction with Riff. Those two are so cute together. They're so goddamn cute together. I love them both. But like, the problem with Yo-Yo, and it's kind of crazy that they did this, and I don't know why they did it the way they did, but like obviously Yo-Yo is one of the first characters. Yo-Yo is one of the first characters you play. He's the first character you see and the first character you control, right? And then like you also see him in like in the intro where he's with Gum, Beat, and Corn, you know? It makes it they give you the idea that Yo-Yo is like just as important as the main trio, you know? Even though like funnily enough, he's not in like any of like the promotionals. He's rarely like any of the promotional stuff like at all, you know? It's always with Beat, it's always with Gum, or you know, sometimes it has Corn in it. It usually has the original trio. But it's like, wait a minute, it's the game starts off with Yo-Yo, Gum, and Corn, so shouldn't those three be like the main trio? But I guess that wasn't the case, because like, you know, Beat is the real mascot. I mean, we know this. We know Beat is like the main mascot. But it's kind of funny that they really put Yo-Yo in the forefront, and then to have him get kidnapped in chapter 4, and then he's gone for like 65% of the game is crazy. Because once you get him back, you already have a large roster of characters to play with, and then you could only spend like the last 30 minutes of the game with him. And I mean, like, maybe you don't want to spend the last 30 minutes on a character like Yo-Yo. Like, maybe you want to spend it on, like, Cube or, like, Jazz or Soda and whatnot, you know? Because in the beginning of the game, you already had enough time to play Yo-Yo. But, like, the fact that they had to the fact that they kidnapped him and we don't even get to play him for, like, the majority of the game really hurts him. It hurts him, like, so bad. But even then, he still turned out to be one of the most popular characters amongst the community. It's like everyone just loves Yo-Yo. They do. And I love him too. With how many like fanfics I've read, there's always gonna be like Yo-Yo having an appearance somewhere where he's like the comic relief character. Like, people love putting Yo-Yo in a lot of silly situations, and he's like, hey, I made a whole video about how flexible he is, because hey, he somehow ends up being in the top 2 of most shipped characters. Like, you're gonna see him ship with Beat a lot. You're gonna see him ship with Riff a lot. Like, he's such a flexible character that you could pretty much put him in a lot of things and it could work. And honestly, like, he's pretty much like the gatekeeper of popular characters, because like once you get past like the mascot 3, like Riff, Yo-Yo, or Cube, like the rest of the characters don't matter for some. So it's great to see that Yo-Yo still manages to like maintain as big as a fan base as he does, despite being like shafted so early into the game. Alright, next is going to be, and hey, people might hate this, but like, I don't care. I think Boogie is fantastic, and everyone is very mean to her. Everyone is unfairly mean to Boogie for no reason. They just don't like her for like no, they're like, they don't like her for like really trivial reasons. Like, I guess it's one thing to say like you like Piranha more as a design, and you know what, that's fair, because there are some aspects of Piranha that I like more than Boogie, but I also love Boogie a lot. But like, to call her ugly is so insane to me. That's so insane that people think this character is like hideous, and I'm like, yo, why do you hate her? Like, realistically, if I literally had to ask someone who doesn't like Boogie why they don't like her, like, what would usually be the main answer? She doesn't look like Piranha. She's kind of ugly. That's really all you're going to hear from other people who haven't really played Future. When they see Boogie and they're like, wait a minute, that's supposed to be Piranha? They ruined her. People are crazy. I'm gonna just say that they're wrong. I'm gonna just say that they're completely wrong. It's not even like subjective. No, this is a fact that they're wrong. Boogie is beautiful, and I think like her design change too also reflects in like her personality. Because, hey, it's not like Piranha had any personality to begin with, right? But Boogie has a lot to work with. Boogie is like a very like chill character. And like, I think what's so funny about her is like she's like the only character in the game that's just like, yo, y'all are crazy. Why y'all doing all this, fighting with Rokaku and whatnot? Like, the fact that she's the only character that kind of has to question what these goofballs are doing is very funny to me, because it's like she's like the only one that's like kind of grounded in reality. I actually find that very funny. Yeah, it's like she joined it and now she's like, wait a minute, what have I done? And now she's put into these like crazy interactions. Like, then when you talk to her and like the noise tank invasion in chapter 6, she's like super nervous and she's like, oh man, this doesn't look good. Like, she's actually like fearful in the situations where like characters like beat Garum or Corn, like they're out here and they're ready to fight, and also Gum too is like, all right, you know, we gotta do what we gotta do, but Boogie is like, oh man, I don't know if I could do this. This is kind of crazy. And then like when you get, and then when you get to like chapter 7 and you have to go to the fortified residential zone, she's like, so how about we pull straws to see who could actually go in there? Like, she's really not, she really ain't built for this. It really like paints her in a way where she's probably not built for this, but like she's still willing to do the right thing. And I think that's such a funny character for her. Like, she probably, like, she heard about the GGs and she probably wanted to join because they're so cool. But then it's like, wait a minute, I don't know if I'm really built for this. It's kind of like with Soda, but Soda is a little bit more accepting of like joining because he really had nothing to do. But like Boogie is like actually fearful of like having to do all of this. But another interesting thing is like, it was either in chapter 6 or chapter 7. It was probably chapter 6, where if you talk to her with Garum or Combo, she's trying to like calm them down because, you know, those two are like the most like aggressive, and she's gotta be like the mediator to tell them to like calm down, which is very cool. And it's she also has an interesting like interaction with Korn too at like the end of the game where you're about to fight Goji, and she was like, this is where you have to take your leadership into like action. Like, I think that's so cool because like she probably like realizes like this is like the final battle and they probably won't make it, and no, like she's giving this pep talk to Korn like, this is where you got to put your leadership in the forefront. That's so cool. And people wouldn't know that because they wouldn't take their time to talk to the characters like me. I do it because I'm a fucking nerd and I like seeing details like that. But like Boogie has so much going for her in comparison to like the original design, but I mean, obviously that counts for everyone, but I think Boogie especially, it shows like she has so much more going on for her. And you know, people obviously don't want to hear that because, you know, they're so attached to looks when it comes to like Jet Set Radio characters. And then when we finally get a game where like they're giving like a semblance of a personality, you know, it's always just defaulted onto, oh, Boogie is ugly, which really does a disservice for her, which is very sad because I think there's like, not only is she absolutely gorgeous, but she offers an interesting dynamic with the rest of the cast that she's more like apprehensive about doing what she's got to do to save the streets. But I think that's what really makes her stand out in a good way. Listen, I'm a gas up and defend Boogie for the rest of my life because like she deserves so much more praise. She does. She really does. Alright, let's see. Now the next character I'm gonna put in is Korn. If there's anyone who got the biggest glow up possible, it's Korn. Like, Korn went from like the third in command to like now he's the leader. And he's actually like a pretty good leader. So he's actually like a pretty good leader, crazily enough. Because, well, first off, let's talk about the fact that he found Potts. You know, he took in Potts. He took in a good boy, and then he found Roboy, and then he rebuilt him. That already gives him a lot of credit. That he's kind of smart. You know, the fact that he could rebuild Roboy, he's already pretty smart. But when you actually like see him in the game, he's like, he's calling all of the shots. Like, he's actually calling all of the shots. Like, he's the one like saying like, yo, we gotta do this because this is what we gotta do. This is for our freedom and shit. Like and then he also makes the plans. Like when you talk to him in chapter 2, he's the one that tells you the order and how to go about each level. He's like, all right, we gotta start with Chuo Street, then Rokakudai, then 99th Street. And then even when Yo-Yo gets kidnapped, while he's like, well, he initially thinks he's kind of skipped town, but he's like, okay, we can't think about that right now because we have to deal with the Immortals. Like, he has his priorities straight. Even when things get dire, like, he has his priorities straight, and he wants to get the problem situated, you know? Like, he doesn't like hold back. He knows what he has to do to save Tokyo, even if it is crazy, and he admits it himself. Like, I know we look kind of crazy and all, but like, he's also smart enough to know that he has to pick out his own battles, and he doesn't want you know, anyone screwing anything up, because like, they're trying to fight back against Goji. Like, he's really trying to stand up to everybody. And like, say if they were able, if the future cast like had ages, if the future cast did have ages and they would keep Korn as the youngest, it's like the fact that he's kind of the youngest out of everyone here, and like, he's calling the shots like that. That man is smart. He got his shit together. He really does have his shit together. And I think that's such a huge jump for his character. Like, they took like a really like whatever character from like the original game, and then they turned him into the leader. And he's obviously the most fleshed out because he's like one of the first characters you get to play as. So that's a huge advantage for him. So I gotta say, like, what they did with Korn is actually super cool. They did a great job with his character, and he's done some good things, like fixed up Roboy, he's got pots, you know, really cool. And I can't wait. I hope we see him again. I know he's not gonna have the leadership role again, obviously, because that's gonna be for Beat, but I hope he's as smart as he is in future, because I think this was like one of my favorite character changes. Definitely 100%. All right, next character. I gotta talk about how fucking amazing Hayashi is. I really gotta talk about how amazing Hayashi is. Now, we know in gameplay he's a complete joke, but Hayashi is literally like one of the main highlights of Jet Set Radio Future. Literally. He carries the game story so hard as an antagonist. He's so good. Like, his whole thing is just that he's batshit insane. That's it. That's literally his thing. Like, I think the problem with Onishima that I had was just like, he was just a grumpy old dude. You know, he was just a grumpy old dude, but he didn't really like instill any sort of fear, you know? We didn't really get a lot out of Onishima, because like, the original game doesn't really extend to anything. But Hayashi is like a huge upgrade compared to Onishima. Like, he with how DJK described him, he is Rokaku's version of Hell on Earth, because he's just batshit insane. The whole thing with him flipping a patrol car because he got coffee flavored mint candy, like, he's insane. And he's so determined to do his job to put us in jail. Well, not so much put us in jail anymore. It kind of comes down to the fact now that he just wants to kill us. But like, he's so determined to do it, but at the same time, he's so tired, and he complains so much. He really complains so much, and like, the fact that he's like, why can't you guys arrest them? All of your paychecks will be docked if you don't get them this time. Like, come on, man. Like, Hayashi is like so crazy, and that's all he really needs to be. He's just crazy, he's insane, and he just wants to kill the GGs. That's it. That's literally his whole thing. He isn't mentally sound, and he has some of the best dialogue in the entire game. Like, he is so seeing his descent into madness is so great. And every time he's on screen, he really feels like it matters, even though we literally kill him in like one knockdown and then we just spray him down and that's it. that's literally it for him. He can't really do anything about that. But like, he's so good. He is so freaking good. That's why I kind of like compare him to. That's why I like compare him to like Adachi from like Persona 4. Obviously, like Adachi is like more layered, but the whole like crazy cop thing is like it's really good. It's really good. I feel like Hayashi would idolize Adachi. 100% he would idolize Adachi. But it's just that Hayashi isn't as smart as Adachi, you know? But like, I feel like that I kind of like those. That's why I like having those two together, because they're like so evil, you know. I like my mentally unstable characters when they're not, you know, trying to be redeemed or whatnot. So I love, you know what. That's why I always see like that's why I always compare like Adachi and Hayashi a lot, because they're both kind of like crazy. Adachi from Persona 4, like he's like he's Dojima's partner. But yeah, Hayashi, major upgrade from Onishima. He's the highlight of the game. His performance is fantastic. His performance is fantastic. It's great. All right. Next, we are going. Right, we're gonna talk about. We want to talk about highlights. We gotta talk about Goji as well. Goji, whoo, man, what a glow up, Goji had. So Goji is like the best way to describe like a subversion of expectations, because you know they set the tone that Goji is like so powerful. You know, he's so powerful. He already has like control of Tokyo, and by the point at the beginning of the game, he's not even the mayor yet, but he had his eyes set on City Hall. But he's not even like the mayor yet, and he has so much control over Tokyo, from like the police and what he's able to put on in the billboards and whatnot. Like, he's already in control of everything. So in your head, you're probably like, oh man, when I finally see Goji, he's probably gonna be like super tough and evil. But then when you see him, he's a funny DJ man. He's a funny DJ man summoning demons. He's playing demonic music, and he's sucking up people's souls, and he's just talking nonsense. He is not mentally sound. And it's crazy because like you saw him and he's established as like this big bad, but like now when you see him, he's just completely batshit insane. And that's what's so cool about him. He's just insane for the sake of it, you know? It's vibes for him. You know, and of course, as you brought it up, he's voiced by Charles Martinet, who voices Mario, Luigi, Wario. We literally have Wario in this game summoning demons and like being a DJ. Like, that's so crazy. Like, Goji is my favorite part of the main story, because I always love hearing his speech, because Charles Martinet does such a good job at playing him. He really does like an amazing job at playing him. And I think a villain like Goji is what like Jet Set Radio kind of needs. Like, I really don't want like a super serious villain for like I really don't want like a super serious villain for something like Jet Set Radio, because Jet Set Radio on its own is like very goofy. I love the fact that Goji can be both serious and then just the craziest person ever, and he's so silly. He went out of his way to have his own radio station and whatnot, and he's summoning demons. Like, he's so cool. He's so cool. He's so cool, man. I love Goji. I think Goji is a fantastic villain to fit the wild and crazy world of Jet Set Radio. And he's probably gonna be the main villain again, obviously. So, but I do hope they keep that whole goofy thing about him. I really hope so. And you know, it's kind of it's a funny contrast between what the main villain looks like in BRC, which is gonna be the BRC villain looks a little more serious, but like, you know what? I think like for something like Jet Set Radio, Goji is like fantastic, and of course we gotta put like, might as well just put Akumu next to him because he's like the same character. But like, the fact that we finally get to see Goji in like a demon form is actually like really cool. Because like, the one thing that disappointed me about the original Jet Set Radio was like, they kind of undermined the whole demon summoning thing. It just chalked it up as a hoax and said like, oh, the demons was just the demons that Goji had in his heart. And it's just like, I don't want to see that shit. I like the fact that Goji actually does turn into a demon with the souls that he sucked off. And if you've heard his dialogue that was cut throughout the game, like, he's so goofy. Like, every time you boost into him, he just laughs. And then he's like, Geronimo. Like, come on, man. Like, really? Like, even in his demon form, he's still as goofy as ever. He's so good. He's so good. I'm so glad that Jet Set Radio has like a villain like this. Alright. From the rest here, it's pretty much going to be the S tier characters. I mean, if you guys know me, you probably already know who's gonna be my number one, but we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there, but not yet. But start off with the S tier list. I'm definitely giving it to DJK, who is literally the heart and soul of Jet Set Radio. Like, you can't think about Jet Set Radio without DJK himself. And I think what makes future DJK so significant this time around is that this time he's not just like relegated to being stuck in between cutscenes. No, he's actually like your navigator. Like, this man is navigating throughout the entire game. He's giving you hints on what you need to do, and he's adding his whole commentary on every situation. It makes him feel more involved with the game that I couldn't get from the original DJK. I think he's also less cartoony, but for a lot of people that's probably like a bad thing, because I've noticed that like a lot of people really like the original DJK for being like super cartoony, and they also really think like future DJK is kind of ugly. They don't like the white hair and whatnot, and they think he's like very boring. And I'm like, what? Calling this DJK boring is crazy, because he has like some of the best lines in the entire game. Like, he carries this entire game with his dialogue and his navigations. It's so good, and he has so many lines that got cut that was also like super good. But like, whereas the original DJK was sort of like in the neutral party, obviously future DJK is on the side of the heroes, because he wants you to succeed, but like, he's obviously also gonna make fun of you when you fail. So I mean I guess that is a great dynamic. And he's also like really hostile towards the rivals and the Rokako police, which is like, obviously, yeah, because like they're like the bad guys. But like, obviously, like DJK is like, he is the voice of Jet Set Radio, and I like the fact that he's more involved with the game for being a navigator. You know, It's like him being a navigator makes me connect to him more than I did in the original game. He's great. He's very great, and I pray. I really, really pray if we get another Jet Set Radio that Billy Brown can reprise his role for DJK, because I can't imagine anyone else playing DJK besides Billy Brown. I really can't see it. I don't think no one else is going to be able to have that same enthusiasm as Billy Brown does when he plays DJK, and I truly mean that. I mean, it's not like I'm not holding much hope for Goji keeping Charles Martinet. I mean, if they actually manage to get Charles to reprise his role as Goji, that'd be amazing, but I doubt they're gonna do that. But I really need Billy Brown to come back as Goji if we ever do get a new game. 100%. 100%. I think it's a must. Yeah, it's the same with Naganuma. I think those two are like so essential to like Jet Set Radio. We need them both. We essentially need them both. 100%. All right, now we are down. Now we are down to these five. Don't worry about these guys. These guys be nothing. But these five. These five are like These five are essentially my favorite characters, and they're also the characters I played the most throughout the entire game. So I'm going to start off with Jazz. Oh man, Jazz. Oh my goodness. When I first saw Jazz when I was younger, I was instantly hooked. I was instantly hooked to her design, because like when you look at how everyone else looks, Jazz somehow looks the most casually dressed, because I mean she literally just has like a long black sweater, some baggy pants, and then she has her trademark scarf, and that's it. And then she got the blue lipstick on, but she's really rocking the Core Blue 72. She looks so good. The white hair too. She rocks the white hair. And this might sound like really silly, and it actually is really silly the more I think about it. But like, Jazz reminded me of actress Nia Long, and if you've seen like Nia Long, she's beautiful. And like, I don't know why. Well, I know why, because I grew up watching movies with Nia Long in it, and so when I see Jazz and I think of Nia Long, and I'm just like, oh man, this is really hitting something for me. So I think Jazz is beautiful. And of course, like, I love Jazz because it literally one of my emotes is literally Jazz, because I think she's absolutely gorgeous. And like when you meet her, she's already put into a crazy situation because she gets kidnapped off screen and is forced to play the worst sport ever. And she starts off like really angry and like aggressive, but like she realized like, oh man, you know what? I don't know who you are, but if we're gonna come out of this alive, we gotta work together. And when you see her again, she wants to challenge you to a race. So it's like, she's like super spunky as well, super duper spunky. Like, she's so energetic, and I think that's her whole thing too, because like she's supposed to be like the sporty girl icon, because like she's the icon for Deathball. Even though she has like the worst AI in existence, that's okay. You don't gotta think about that. Her AI sucks, but that's okay. That's okay. But like, when you recruit her, it's like all she wants to do is like she wants to get back at the Noise Tanks for what they did to her, obviously. And just like with Boogie, when you talk to her with like Garum and Combo, she's like, look, I know you're angry, but we gotta chill out. We gotta keep our cool. Like, cause she's also like she's also a mediator in her own right. And I find it kind of cool that she kind of has this like chill poetry poetry aspect about her, because like I always remember like her dialogue from like the post game. It's like, if this city had a voice, what poetry would it have? I mean, and then there's also the line with I think it's either with corn or if it's with B. I think it's with B, and it's like it's always those with like so much power it's always those who sends fear to people who has so much power. Like she has like very like thought-provoking lines. Like I think that's like really nice. Like she could both be really spunky and then also like the calm like mediator girl. And I think it's very sad that out of the female cast, like she's obviously the most forgotten. Like obviously she's the most forgotten. And I mean I say that, but like no one likes drawing the future designs to begin with. So like the future designs don't really get any sort of highlight unless it's Gum, which also unfortunately means Jazz has to be out of the limelight, which is kind of sad because I feel bad for both Jazz and Clutch because I know that we're never gonna see them again. We're not. I'm just being honest. We're never gonna see these two again, which is gonna be sad because I think these two are like great additions to the roster of characters, and they both bring something really cool to the table. And I wish like more people. I wish more people would like give Jazz like I wish more people would like give Jazz like much more like recognition because she is really cool and she's also really gorgeous. And I mean, if I'm gonna be honest, she also has one of the best victory animations. For obvious reasons, she really knows how to arch her back. I'm not gonna lie. She's great. She's great. I'm just biased towards Jazz. I'm just biased towards Jazz because she hits a nostalgic feeling for me of an actress I really like, and she's one of my favorite characters to play overall. Oh man, really? Oh man, that's sad to hear. That's actually really sad to hear. Yeah, rest in peace. Rest in peace, and my condolences to his family and such. You know, I mean, he will always be remembered by us, 100% for sure. I mean, all right. Next character is going to be Riff. I mean, there's a lot I can say about Riff. If you want to talk about weirdos and spunky girls, like Riff is like the main character here. And the whole thing with like Mew and Riff, like they've always been like popular. Like she's always like secondary to Gum in terms of like popularity. So like it's obviously we don't see Riff as much, we see Mew, but like obviously she's as equally as popular as the main trio. And like the whole thing, like you instantly kind of like enjoy Riff because like of her voice, because her voice is like super adorable. Just the whole hi there. It's like I like that. I like that instantly hooked me when I was a kid. And I was like, I love her. She's super cute. And like the whole when you talk with Riff, she's always so happy. And like she's always so happy and like super quirky. And like it's just like you get dialogues from her like Poison Jam is like really cute, or like Hayashi doesn't look like he eats his breakfast. Like she comes off as like a dit, but then she says some stuff like those golden rhino pins. Like I'd be collecting those, and you're just like, wait a minute, what? Like why is she like collecting pins of like the most dangerous group in Tokyo? Like why is she do it? Like what has this girl been cooking back in the day? We'll never know, but like there's just this interesting aura about Riff. Like, obviously, she's like really weird, and of course, like, she's also like, I guess you could say Yo-Yo's love. I mean, obviously, she's probably like Yo-Yo's closest thing to like a love interest. Or this is like the closest we're ever gonna get to like any sort of like romance implications whatsoever. Because obviously, Yo-Yo kind of has a crush on Riff, and then like we get to like chapter 6, and Riff is like, I don't think Yo-Yo is that type of person. Because she's like the only one at that point of the story who doesn't believe that Yo-Yo betrayed them. She really is. And then like it turns out she was right the whole time. And I think like the fact that she had like so much faith that Yo-Yo wouldn't be that type of person is like really interesting for her character. And I'm surprised she actually didn't get any extra post-game dialogue like Garum did. I always found that super weird, because it feels like she could have. But I think I just love Riff's energy of being such super cute and super energetic and ditzy. And I don't know what it is about her outfit that's so funny. I always describe like Mew and Riff as like the winter version and then the summer version, like, cause how Mew has the whole giant coat, and then Riff has like the whole sundress thing. Like I think it is a very interesting dynamic. But the weird thing about her outfit is obviously like the garbage bra that she's wearing. Like, I don't know what she did to make that bra, and it does look stupid on her, but it certainly fits a character of her stature. It really does. Like, for her to be like the ditzy happy one, it really fits her. And I do kind of wonder, what would they do if they were to redesign her? I mean, I've seen a few take a jab at it, and they both look really, and they all have looked really good. But I'm really interested in like what they could do for her if they changed her. And I feel like they're gonna have like I really hope that they have like a great voice actress for her if the characters were to get like recast. Imagine, like, okay, this might sound crazy, or this might sound fitting, but imagine if they got like Erica Lynn back, like Futaba's voice actor to voice Riff. I think that would really be very fitting. Or it could be Haru's voice actor, honestly. Like, they both would be fitting for her. I think they both would match like Riff's energy like very well. But I think Erica Lynn back would actually be like more fitting for Riff energy wise, because like Futaba is like really energetic. I think that would be great for Riff. All right, next character I'm going to give this to Gum. I mean, we all know Gum. We know who the fuck she is. She is the poster girl. She is the second in command. She is Beats' right hand homie. You know, she got his back. She also got Korn's back. You know, those two are always together. Like, literally always together, because like they're always together in the crossover games. Obviously, Sega Superstars Tennis, All Stars Racing, Transform. They were in that corny ass gacha game together. Like, those two are always together. They're the dynamic duo, and I'm so glad that like Gum gets as much attention as like Beat, because I have like such a strong attachment towards Gum. Now, for quite a few people, they find Gum kind of boring, at least compared to like the other female characters, and they think it's kind of lame that she kind of gets more attention than the others. And while I can get that, you gotta understand also as well, like, obviously she obviously is the poster girl, so it's no surprise that she gets the most amount of attention, because that's the character most people recognize. But we also don't get to see a lot of future Gum a lot, you know. And you know, she's mostly the same, but like, it's just the fact, you know, they decided to change her, give her the more mature look to go along with the whole heartbreaker thing, even though they don't really show it throughout the game. But like, I think I've always like admired the fact that Gum was always treated as more like she was always treated as like the second in command, especially like even in the original game. It was always clear like she was like the second leader, but it definitely shows more in future, because she's usually the one backing up Corn and also giving you like advice and tutorial stuff. Gum will always make sure that she gives you tutorials, and she doesn't shut up about it. But that also kind of displays that, like, that also just kind of displays that, she's the secondary leader, of course, which makes the most sense. And like, she's also like very chill to like other she's also like very chill to an extent. She's not very upbeat. She's kind of more like very relaxed. Just very relaxed in her character. Like every time like someone else joins, she's like, "Oh, cool, welcome aboard." And then like when she sees Boogie, she's like, "Well, this is the GG's. What you see is what you get. Just be yourself and be cool." Like, she's so chill. She's so chill in her character. And like, we also, when we get to like the end of the game, she's like, "I really don't want to deal with Goji's mess, but we gotta do what we gotta do to save the streets." And then she also gets like the last main piece of dialogue at the end of the game, where she's like, "We don't want to be famous. That's not what we about. All we want to do is live in a place where we could just be free and have fun. That's all." She has her priorities straight. She really does. She has her priorities straight. And also, when you think about this is a little inconsequential, but when you think about Jet Set Radio speedrunning, Gum is usually the character you're usually gonna see speedrunners use a lot, because like she has like some of the best movement in the game. So it's clear that Gum is like a really good character from a gameplay standpoint also. But I think we also have to give like the extra leverage from like the crossover games, because like, if you've seen Gum in like the crossover games, oh man, she is cocky as she is super cocky. She's very pompous, and her whoever her voice actor is, we'll never know who her voice actor is, honestly. But whoever her voice actor is, they did a fantastic job. Like, I love Gum's VA in the crossover game so much. You know what? She's super. You know what? I'm about to bring up a video of that, because I gotta bring up a video of it. It's so good. Her voice actor did such a damn good job. Like, I love her. I love her voice. I love her voice actor so freaking much in the crossover game. So I gotta bring up the video just so I can play it, and just so you guys can hear it. Like, we just so y'all can understand just how awesome Gum is, and how even more fleshed out, and like the voice in like the crossover games made her. Hold on, I gotta pull this up. It's so good. It's so good.
Bring it on, sucker! No way! You gotta be kidding. How dare you beat me? That was just a test. Next time, I win. Wanna try and do that again? So you got lucky. Big deal. Give it a rest. Ugh, this is so disappointing. No fair. Hey, I did it. Outstanding.
Oh
Am
man.
I good or what? What a downer. Try again, Gum. Don't stop now. Beat that. Feel the force. Out of my way. Move it. Get real. Nice try. Dream on, loser. Hey, got something for ya. Let's dance. Game on. I'm not afraid to lose. I'll just win next time. Come on. Let's have a rematch now.
She's
I
so
don't want your pity.
Hold on, wait. I love that. Yo, that voice line goes kind of hard. Like, she loses and she's like, nah, 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 nah. Rematch up.
Afraid to lose. I'll just win next time. Come on. Let's have a rematch now. I don't want your pity. I want to win. What's the matter? You embarrassed? You honestly thought you stood a chance? We must do this again sometime. Rock on! Out of sight! Hip hop, don't stop! Aren't you tired of losing yet? Jeez, you could at least try to win. I'm still just warming up. Mine! Yes! You're
Yo, this character is so come on. This character is so cool. But come on. This character is so cool. She's so cool. She's so good. I don't need Gum is tight. I don't need to say anymore. That alone carries her so much. So good. Yo, she is so cocky, and then when she's like losing, she's like, nah, I'm that's nothing. We gonna run this back right now. She was like the one to do like the salty rematches in fighting games. That's definitely Gum. All right, here we go. We have the poster boy himself, Beat. I mean, do we really have to go into why Beat is so cool? I mean, like, come on. I think we already know, right? I mean, we already know. He's the guy on the box for a reason. He is Jet Set Radio's mascot. Hell, you could say like he essentially took Yo-Yo's spot anyways, even though he was already holding that spot to begin with. And like he's so cool, especially his future design especially is so cool. And don't get me started on the way he looks in All-Stars in the first All-Stars racing game. What they did with his future design is so peak. It is so peak. That is the best Beat has ever looked, and I don't think that look is ever going to be topped because he looks so freaking cool. But like like you also brought it up too, like usually when like you have a whole cast and like especially like spin-off games, no one wants to play the mascot, but like this is a game where you definitely want to play the mascot because the mascot himself is so cool. Beat is so cocky and confident in his abilities. He's also like kind of smart in his own right. And he obviously gets more attention because of the whole zero beat Goji thing and whatever their past interaction is. So like he honestly holds a lot of importance in Jet Set Radio. He really does. And he hits so close to me. He's also, funnily enough, he was also one of the first characters I ever cosplayed as. So I mean, obviously I have a lot of emotional attachment. I honestly have a lot of emotional attachment to like Beat. Beat's design and his like demeanor definitely perfectly encapsulates Jet Set Radio, man. Really, I really mean that. I love Beat so much. I really do. Like I can't get enough of guy, and I'm so glad I'm so glad that I'm so glad that he still gets attention in like other Sega crossover games, even though it's like, you know, they don't acknowledge Jet Set Radio, but they will acknowledge that, hey, you guys remember Beat? Yeah, we still care about him. We promise we still care about Jet Set Radio. We promise. That's why they constantly still put Beat in everything. And I mean, of course, he's not just like Gum. He also got a new voice that perfectly encapsulates like his his personality and whatnot. So I gotta share this as well.
I feel like a winner today. This can't be right. Wake up, Beat. I'm still gonna win, you know. Not the outcome I expected. Let's try that again. Lucky for you, I let you win. No way. No. Get out of here. My turn now. This is far from over. Mission accomplished.
I love his voice in
Too
this game.
easy.
It's so good.
Bring it on. Almost had it that time. Don't give up yet. Simply not good enough.
It's like so
Great.
fitting
I'll
for
leave
his
my
look for
tag. This
both
is
versions
Gigi's
of
turn
how he
now.
looks.
No one's gonna top that. Here we go. It's on. Get this. Too slow? Another go. Got it. Nice try, chump. Go. You're lucky to play me on my bad day. We play
Yo, that line is so crazy. That is such a crazy ass excuse. You lucky you played me on my bad. That's such a crazy excuse.
chump. Go. You're lucky to play me on my bad day. We play again, and I don't lose. I can't be the loser. I put Tokyo Toe on the map. You just aren't on my level. This is how it's done.
What that line is he was like, "You aren't on my level." Come
Put
on, man. That's
Tokyo
so
Toe on the
good.
map. You just aren't on my level. This is how it's done. Give up yet? Ha! My game. Are you having fun yet? Captain Onishima failed to stop me just like you. You can't defeat Beat, and that's how you dish out defeat. Go, go, go! My point. Go, go, go! See the skills? This
You see the skill. Come on, come on, man. I think like I love like what Future was able to do with like the characters' personalities, but like when it comes to like voices, man, when it comes to like voices, what they've done for Beat and Gum was fantastic. Oh, I wanted to quickly like touch upon like Beats the redesign he got. I actually really fucking love it. Like the one thing I've always said, like if they were ever gonna redesign Beat, I hope they give him a jacket. And that's what they did. They gave him a jacket. So I was like, all right, yeah, that's perfect for me. Gum, I'ma still need to get used to your design, but I don't hate it. I don't hate it like a lot of other people did, but I didn't hate it, but I definitely need to get used to it. But like I really hope like I hope this for everybody. I hope everyone gets like a good voice to fit their character. But yeah, we already know Beats the GOAT. He's fantastic. I'm glad he's the mascot because he perfectly represents everything about Jet Set Radio. All right. You're all right. I've delayed it for a long time because I really wanted to build the suspense, but there was no building up the suspense. We already know. If y'all know me, especially if y'all see me on Twitter, y'all know me. Cube. Come on. The definitive number one here. It's obviously Cube. Now I know I'm very biased towards golf girls, and I love them, but like come on. Like who else was it gonna be from me, obviously? Like who else was it gonna be? It's obviously gonna be Cube. So Cube is crazy in this game. I like her whole thing. Like she's essentially like she is technically like your first main antagonist because she is the leader of Poison Jam. And when you first meet her, like she has this whole like Sewer Queen gimmick going on. Like she's got the whole mask and everything. She's sitting on the throne. Like she's taking her role as like the leader very seriously in the most dramatic way possible. Like she really sees herself as like a super villain. And that's so funny. That's so funny to me. Like she's so into her role. And then like you don't see her for a while after Poison Jam fails. And then like she comes back and then she actually helps the Gigis by revealing that NT was just a noise take. And then she spits some knowledge on you like the streets will never be peaceful. Chaos is in its true nature. Like come on, yeah. Like come on, like yo, she was putting in a lot of work in Future. She really was. Like, she was the former leader of Rapid 99, and then she led Poison Jam, and then she was revealing, like, she's actually, like, a really good leader on her. I think she's a great leader on her own as well. Like, in compare, that's why I kind of like that's why I kind of like Cube and Corrin together, because, like, they would have, like, different perspectives as leaders, and which will grow into, like, a mutual, like, a genuine mutual, like, respect for each other. Because maybe they don't see eye to eye in terms of, like, morals and such, but, like, I think they understand what they both have an understanding of what they need to do to get the job done. And then, like, when you finally like, when you recruit her, she's just like, who would have thought a punk like you would beat me? And then she's like, all right, you got me. What do you want from me? And, like, you know what? She's, like, so nonchalant about it. She's like, I guess you could kind of count her as, like, an anti-hero, but, like, she is still, like, she is still technically on the side of good. She's like Shadow, essentially. Maybe, you know what? Maybe that's why I love her so much, because, like, she could, much like how Shadow is, I kind of have that same attachment towards Cube. And, like, I think what's also interesting about her, she's not like, I also like how she's chaotic neutral. I also like how in chapter 7, like, if prior, like, you don't have, like, all the graffiti souls, like, she realizes that, like, there's really something fishy going on with, like, the golden rhinos and whatnot. And then I kind of like how after Clutch takes your stuff, she basically calls you an idiot. She basically calls you an idiot for being so gullible. And I love that. I like how she's, like, much like how Boogie is being apprehensive about, like, what she got of, like, doing these dangerous things. Cube is not afraid to call you out for being an idiot, for trusting Clutch. Like, even she could have seen that from a mile away. And I think that's, and I really like that about her character. I really like that. That's so funny that she does that. And, like, she also talks about how she's had, like, prior experience with the golden rhinos, and she gives you the warning, like, you better, like, treat them seriously or whatnot. Like, you could pretty much have her as, like, a third leader, like, you know, but she'll probably tell you it differently. But, like, she's a great leader on her own as well. I think what she has done throughout the story, like, she easily has more impact than, like, the majority of the GGs, right? And, like, she's the only character in Jet Set Radio that actually has, like, a total of 3 designs, because, like, she obviously has her US design from the original game, and she also has her JP design from the original game, and then she also has this design. And they really didn't need to change. They did take a lot more cues from, like, the US design for Cube from the original game. And, you know, they changed it up a little bit. They gave her the tube top, which is, I do like her beta design a lot more, just a little bit. But I like the tube top change. The shorter pants, and also, like, they gave her, like, the reptile pin. I really like the reptile pin on her hair. And you kind of, it's kind of funny, like, when people kind of draw, like, future Cube, they kind of forget the detail of her having the reptile pin. They always give her the skeleton pin from the original game, which that's wrong, obviously. She has the reptile pin. She has the reptile pin. And, like, I think that's what makes her, like, stand out. Oh yeah, her beta design, she basically has, like, a different top on. I can show y'all. I can probably, like, show it a bit later, but yeah, she has, like, she essentially has, like, a different top on. But, like, I think, like, it's a combination of what she's done in the story and my huge bias towards, like, Golf girls, because I mean, come on, my favorite Persona woman is Tei Takemi. I mean, come on. I mean, that's obvious. Like, so the fact that you know, Cube is Cube is peak. And also she was the first character. She was the first character analysis I did when I started my YouTube. She was literally the first character I decided to do. And it was literally just me talking about and gassing her up about why she is actually the best Jet Set Radio character. So if that wasn't proof enough about why I love Cube, like, come on. And don't get me started. Yo, the belly tattoo, shit. It works so good. Yo, I can't help it. I love Cube. I love Cube. Cube is peak. She's peak. She's fantastic. I love her, and she can't be topped. All right, that's pretty much everybody here. That's pretty much it for the tier. That's pretty much it for the tier list. Pretty much, we got everybody. This is how I feel about every character in Jet Set Radio. This is my definitive feelings of how I feel towards the gang, and that's pretty much it. I was gonna play something, but I'm probably not going to do it today. If I'm gonna play something, I'll probably play something on Wednesday. I'll probably come back and play something on Wednesday, but I think that will be it for me. I think that'll be it for me today. By the way, Bomb Rush Cyberpunk is like a week and a half away, and that's kind of crazy to think. That's kind of crazy to think about, right? Bomb Rush Cyberpunk is actually almost here. So I am planning on making like a small like why you should be excited for the game video before it actually comes out. You know, just to hype up people. I mean, hey, why not? It's a perfect opportunity, right? And so I know am I probably gonna play the game day of? If not the day of, I'm gonna play it the day after it releases. But I'm pretty much set. I'm gonna get the game. I'm gonna stream it. I was gonna get it on like I was gonna do like a let's play on it, but I think it would be better to stream it because I would like to have other people experience the game with me live, so I could actually give like my raw feelings on the game live as I'm like going through it with other people watching me. You know, I'm going to be getting the Steam version. I'm going to be getting the Steam version of the game. Hell, if I like the game enough, I might just buy it again. If I like the game enough, I might just buy it again on my PS5. But I'm gonna get the Steam version of the game because I really want this game to look really good. Because you gotta be trolling if you think I'm gonna be. If you gotta be trolling if you think I'm gonna be getting that game on the Nintendo Switch, where it's gonna be 720 and 30 FPS. I am not doing that. Fuck the Switch. It's a garbage console. I'm definitely gonna be getting it on Steam because I want that game to run fantastically. All I gotta say about BRC is that it looks good so far, and I hope when I play it, I'm gonna have a lot of fun with it. I hope when I play it, I have a lot of fun with it. And that's it. I just can't wait I think it's looking pretty good so far, and I hope I can keep the same opinion about it later, because I do want the game to be successful. I do. So I hope it comes out good. Honestly, when you get it, expect like a day one patch, because these days games don't run perfectly on the first day. So probably expect a day one patch for that game. But I just hope the game turns out pretty good. All right, so I'm gonna call it for today. If I do decide I want to play something, then I will see you all on Wednesday, and I hope you guys have a great rest of the day and take care. I'm gonna post this tier list on Twitter, or X or whatever the fuck you want to call it these days. I'm gonna post it on Twitter. So I'll see you guys later and have a great day.